Hello, LinkedIn Live. Hope everybody's good. Guys, we have a special treat for you today. Together with the amazing Daniel, we have my friend, somebody I look up to, somebody I really enjoy hearing her speak, Jessica Zall. So, Jessica, first of all, thank you for coming. Before we give you the microphone, I want to share a little bit. So, I met Jessica actually on stage. And, Jessica, I am very critical of other speakers. You impressed me. I love your energy. I love how you come at things. And then you and I became friends. We started talking. We did another event together, which was a lot of fun. And you are an expert to me in showing your team how to utilize AI to really punch way above your weight. And that's impressive and it's very rare. And you are the CMO of Car IQ. You have such an amazing career. I've seen you speak a couple of times and again was truly impressed. Thank you for coming. Jessica, welcome to our live. Everybody, please welcome Jessica. Jessica, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. You flatter me. And can I just have you say this to me every single day when I'm feeling imposter syndrome or feeling down, because that was a great way to pump me up. So thank you.
So now I'm going to prop myself up. We have an AI that actually can take your voice, duplicate it, and I'm going to do that and send you a message every day of how much I appreciate you.
There we go.
I'll drop you a voicemail through my my voice automator. I'll drop you an inspirational quote every day. But truly, sometimes you meet somebody. I always think about reciprocity, Jessica. You meet somebody, you click with them, and with you, it was an instant. We started helping each other with no connection of how and why. You liked my ideas, I liked yours, and we just started connecting each other with people. I love that. And people like you are why I love speaking and LinkedIn. It's just a great reciprocity, and I see you as a friend. So thank you. And I'll start recording those voicemails for you.
I love it. Thank you.
My pleasure. So tell us a little bit about yourself, what you have done in the past, and about your position now as a CMO of Car IQ.
Sure. So I'm a 3-time CMO. I'm currently the CMO of Car IQ, which is a FinTech payments platform for the trucking and automotive space. It's actually a really, really, really cool product. It's about 8 years old. We're Series B plus and really trying to scale up quickly. So my job is all over the place and quite busy right now, building a team, building the infrastructure, building the content, the KPIs, the budget, you name it. But I've been around in the financial services and FinTech industry for over 20-something years. I don't want to date myself, but let's just say over 20-something years.
14 is when you started professional work, my dear?
Exactly. Thank you. I had a very interesting, career path, to be honest with you. I after college, and I went to college for originally neurobiology and couldn't stand the sight of blood, decided not to go to med school, and I focused on neuropsychology. So I had a background in just kind of understanding behavior, and then got out of college and needed a job and did not know what I wanted to do. So I ended up going into sales at Fidelity, believe it or not. So I was at Fidelity. I was a stockbroker and junior financial advisor, worked in the office with clients, stayed there for about 6 years, and just decided it wasn't right for me. I'm not a salesperson, but I loved the idea and work of consulting with people and hearing their needs and trying to present different solutions to help them. It became a little too salesy for me. So I ended up leaving and I did something completely different. I went to grad school for economics and public education. Thought I was going to change the world, really wanted to help public education from a financing perspective, went to grad school. Graduated during the Great Recession, couldn't get a job, had to go figure out what the heck I was going to do to support myself living in New York City. I still do a lot of stuff with public education on the side from a volunteer perspective, but I ended up going back into financial services and actually FinTech. I knew somebody that was the head of marketing for a FinTech that was in like treasury and risk management. And they brought me on. They said, you have a background in sales, in financial services, you understand the space, you have a background of economics and psychology. And during grad school, I had been doing a lot of fundraising for various public education initiatives. So I would put on events like benefit concerts. So I had that kind of marketing background. And that's how I fell into marketing and realized I loved it. It brought everything together full circle for me from a behavioral perspective, consumer behavior, consumer economics, the sales aspect. I'm always thinking about things with the sales mindset. And, again, I knew the space. So I kind of worked my way up in marketing. I started at the ground up, went into Mises, learned how to do events. I built out a I built out a Salesforce system. I then implemented Eloqua. So I was really learning absolutely everything. I started out in a scale-up company that was about 9 years old. It was startup scale up. So really got to know every part of marketing and then just kind of moved around. And like I said, I've been in FinTech and FinServe. And this is my third company being CMO.
That is amazing. So no wonder you and I click so much. I started in sales, love sales. Sales is my life, but I understood that marketing is a better way of selling than selling, especially when the internet really dominated our lives. So, and finance was my first success. So the first company I built into a big company was a finance company. So very clearly why you and I get along so much. We have a similar path, which I didn't realize. So I love that. Now let's talk a little bit about what you've done, because that really impresses me. So take us before, I know you're with CarIQ now and you guys are doing amazing things, which we'll talk about what CarIQ is and what you're doing. But tell me a little bit, you did some amazing things with your marketing team in the dawn of AI. You really took them and they adopted AI and started really punching above their weight. For our audience, for people that are still struggling with AI, can you share your story a little bit about how you took, with all the challenges from leadership, what you could use and cannot use, but how you did that and made your team just punch so much above their weight? I think the audience would really love to hear that.
Sure. And I think, my first real foray into AI was probably at a very large company called Refinitiv. It was the old Thomson Reuters financial and risk business, and I was the head of global marketing strategy. We used ChatGPT was not around then, right? There were a Segment. I can't remember if Segment.io was around. I think it may have just been getting started, maybe. But we were using AI from a website personalization perspective, right? And a little bit of predicting consumer behavior. So we started to dabble in that, which was interesting because normally the large companies don't, but we were a little bit more nimble and flexible. We spun off from Thomson Reuters into the largest fintech called Refinitiv, which was a competitor to Bloomberg. So we did dabble in that. It was really at Percent about maybe 3.5 years ago. I think that's when ChatGPT started to come out, where it was another scale up company. Small team. We had unfortunately, we had some rifts during the year. And we needed to really continue to punch above our weight, right? We had some big, aggressive goals from a marketing perspective. We were both B2B and B2C. And the first thing we did was we started to train ChatGPT. I mean, we were using ChatGPT basically to kind of help with email subject lines, things like that. But then we lost our content lead, right? And we started to really embrace it and train ChatGPT to be very specific to our company, Percent. We created our own version for Percent and we fed it absolutely everything. Percent is in the private credit space. Oh, go ahead.
So let's pause here, because this is what I want to make sure the audience understand. In AI, if you don't feed it the knowledge, it will spit out crap. Apologize, ladies and gentlemen. But this is something I want you to really, how much effort did you and your team put into really putting all the information and training the AI?
A lot. And it actually started, believe it or not, with our engineering team. We were creating an internal ChatGPT basically, and connecting it to Slack, so that our sales team and our customer success team could more easily and quickly answer RFPs and investor inquiries that were coming through our customer success team. So basically, we took all of the documentation that we had. Now, just to explain what Percent is, it's a platform for investing in private credit as well as underwriting private credit transactions and using private credit for companies to raise money, right, to support their growth, right? So it's three-sided, and so there's three different
Can I interject 1 second? You're such
products.
a leader. You're no longer with Percent, and I love how you speak about them. Even with me, you kept on telling me how great they are and I should look in them. So that's such a tribute to the leader that you are. You left the organization, you with another one, and you keep pushing and speaking so highly about this organization.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's just
Percent is a great organization. Car IQ is as well, but Percent is a great organization. Like I said, it's small, it's scale up, so we've had some headwinds. But and I'll get to this at the end. I'm so proud of it because of what we've done with AI. You would not know how small the team is right now because they are so out there because of AI, right? And all of the work that we did. So we fed it everything. We fed it from just a general company perspective. We fed it information about our deals, about all the companies that were raising money on our platform, our management team, our due diligence process, basically everything that you can think of across all of our different audiences and all of our different products, so that using Slack connected to ChatGPT, our sales team could just ask a question and it would come out with an answer, right? Is it exactly the perfect answer? No, because it's pulling from a bunch of information. So that salesperson or that customer success person who's answering the question or answering the RFP needs to finesse it a bit, right? So it started with that. And like I said, the marketing team, we were using it to, draft some emails, subject lines, et cetera. Saw really the success of this and started to implement that for marketing. And Percent is a heavily regulated business, right? So you have to watch everything that you say. So basically, we fed it with all of our marketing collateral, all of our thought leadership, everything about the management team, everything about our deals. Again, the same thing, right? The deals that are on our platform, we fed it with, I can't remember what the FINRA rule is. I want to say FINRA rule 2210 or something like that.
all the legal obligations.
All of the legal, yes, everything. So that now when we ask, write me a blog post on what is private credit to speak to an average investor who has 5 million to invest, right? It will come out with that. We need to then, that is the first draft, right? It's not going to give us something that we're just going to go out with. We still have to use that, edit it, socialize it for a review, and still submit it to compliance, right? But what does it do? It helps my team move a lot faster, right?
There is an interesting question here from Numan, and I would like for you to answer. There was a lot of questions, but this is really pertaining to what you're saying. Is it safe to feed it everything? So I'll take it first, but then I would like to hear you.
Yeah.
Numan, yes and no. It is, you need to feed it everything, but you got to defend a knowledge base. You can't just feed ChatGPT everything. You can't just feed an OpenAI everything. You need to close a secured and defendable knowledge base, and then you can feed everything, but you got to give it guidelines so it doesn't send anything out or in. I would love your point on it.
My point.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with that. What we were feeding it was information that was available to the public as well. It was available in different forms, right? So some of the stuff was within our product walls, right? So for customers that logged in, right? Anybody could basically sign up for an account, right? You could only invest if you were an accredited investor, but you got access to the deal room, right? And to the data room, so you could see that stuff. So it was public information. We did not feed it any private or confidential information.
Makes total sense. I think Jessica got stuck a little bit. Hopefully we'll get her back. Daniel, let's hear your thoughts about this. You've been dealing with AI for a very long time. How do you help companies? Hey, Jessica.
Sorry, I don't know what happened. Did you guys hear me? did I answer?
Heard you, and it was great information. Then you get stuck for a brief second and you're back. So no worries. So Daniel, how do you help companies punch above their weight? Actual examples, like case studies, how you go into companies and help them really punch above their weight using AI.
Yeah, so I'll start out with kind of the actual tactics of what it looks like, and then some of the stats, because I'm a data driven guy. But in practice, what it looks like is finding. We always start with an assessment, and we find areas where we have proven success. And what I mean by that is a process that is well defined and it works. It achieves the desired results, whether it's a copywriter making content or a salesperson who just really knows how to craft great messaging and make good cold calls. And then we automate that with AI. We onboard it very much like we would a new employee to the team, except for because of the scalability of AI, you might as well be onboarding like 100 new employees. And now you can replicate that process that is proven and that works using AI. And some of the results, like how we've actually helped clients, with, I think, the sales agent, I'll use that as an example. Typically, your top talent is going to spend 80% time prospecting and really putting in the work, doing their homework, all of that into prospecting, and then, book their calendar and spend about 20% of their time having meaningful sales conversations. With AI, we flip that on its head. They spend 20% of their time QCing the AI, training it, coaching it, making sure that it's doing its job. And now they're left with 80% of their time for these meaningful conversations. And I love this example because it shows how, despite what some people will say about AI making things less human and really getting in the way of relationship building, this use case of AI proves how it can be used to take away a lot of the grunt work and make room for more meaningful human interaction.
I love that. So I've trained thousands of salespeople, Jessica, and salespeople, okay, are very interesting breed, and I'm part of that breed, like a proud part of that breed. What are salespeople hating to do the most? The repeatable stuff that really kind of, I look at salespeople almost like a board of balloons that the people just throw darts at all day long because they call people, I don't want to talk to you. They email people, they don't get answers.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like taking your air out every arrow. What if, you know how to do this? Daniel's an amazing salesperson. He knows exactly how to do this. But if Daniel gets on 10 negative calls, I don't care what and how professional Daniel is, his spirit is going to go dump a little bit. Now, if I can train an AI to do all the entry level stuff, and then instead of reaching to 10 people per day, Daniel can now reach to 100 or 1,000. And again, he doesn't need to deal with all the arrows. All he needs to deal with is what comes back. So now you can completely make the beginning parts, the entry level, exactly the way you want them and scale them. And then someone like Daniel can really handle what's going on. And then there was a question here that I did not showcase, I don't think, and it has something to do. So Joshua is asking, how can a leader within an AI industry possibly get ahead? Do I have to create an AI software to be a leader in AI? Joshua, thank you. Great question. I'm going to answer this in a way. There are no AI experts out there, including me. There are AI pioneers. It's such a new technology. It's really not about creating another AI. What you need to focus on, Joshua, is just like what Daniel says. Figure out what you know really well and what you know create results and what you're good at. AI can make it 10x, maybe 100x if you do it correctly. So you don't need to start an AI software. You just need to understand a use case that AI can really supercharge. Thoughts about that, Jessica?
I mean, yeah, I agree with you. It's such a new space. There are no experts, and do you need to build something? No, you need to be using it, right? I think incorporating it into every aspect of your life, and I actually incorporate it into things that have nothing to do with work. I'll be honest with you, right? Like I may ask ChatGPT to write me, an email to, my gym because I'm not happy with the switch out of the latest shampoo and conditioner, right? I had a friend ask ChatGPT what the perfect date was for a date that he was going on. So you explore it. I think that's how you get ahead, is really being able to think about it and use it in multiple different aspects, right? To work smarter.
We're habitual, right? So if you habitually use AI, I don't know how our life was before AI. The same thing about cell phones and smartphones, first cell phones and smartphones. We get so used to it and it's so useful that I don't even know what I did before. So let me share a couple of use cases of AI that I do. I book flights on AI. Okay. There's a kayak GPT that is freaking awesome. Okay.
I gotta check this out.
Go to the GPT store, look for the kayak thing, and I just go and I say, hey, find me the cheapest direct flight from Miami to Rome. That's how I booked my Italy trip. By the way, I saw this comment and I didn't show it yet, but Numan says, nice coat, Zev. You're looking great today. Thank you. This is my Italian fashion. I appreciate the comment. Thank you very much. But I booked that. I play with my kids. So I want my kids to practice their creativity. So we talk about which animals they can create, and then they go to GPT or some other AI, and they create mixes of animals. They create stories with AI. So you can use AI for so many things that are not. I do fun poems to my kids and to my family and share it with them. I sometimes use it on our Slack just as, fun stuff that we put together. But use it, and then you'll see that it's amazing. But let's talk about the warnings of AI, and I would love to hear both of you on this. The worst thing people can do with AI is to take the first response from AI. It is never a good idea. Everybody write this down. Do not use the first response. You have to massage it. You have to give information. You have to direct it. A lot of times it brings out something that I think you kind of coined, Daniel, very shiny-ish, stuff that looks really good, but it is worthless, like completely worthless. Let's take a look at a question really quick, and then we'll go to you guys for this. So Laura Solano asks, as a marketer, learning to leverage the right AI tools in your marketing role is key. Laura, 100%. And then let's go to you talking about a little bit of the risks of AI and what you should not do and how to leverage the right tools.
Yeah, I think while AI has so many benefits, there are a lot of risks as well. And I think we need to be aware of them. And there's a lot of tools too, right? It's not just ChatGPT, right? It's Segment.io, it's Six Sense, it's Claude, it's Gemini, etc. There's a ton of them. There are a lot of risks, right? Things like privacy concerns, right? Bias and discrimination, loss of human touch. The loss of human touch is big, right? Because basically, you are having artificial intelligence craft something and they're pulling it from multiple different sources, right? You can't just send that out, right? You're going to lose that human connection, especially if you're a marketer. That has to be very massaged in terms of the audience that you're speaking to. And you can certainly train and prompt AI to tailor something, but you have to look at that, and you have to own it, and you have to make sure that human touch is there, because people know, I can tell when something has basically just been sent to me from AI, right? Versus something that somebody's actually taken some time to look at and think about.
Can I share a case study that just happened the other day? One of our writers, basically had a task, and he sent the task back, and the person that sent him the task checked ChatGPT prior to sending him the task, and what the person sent and what ChatGPT were exactly the same. Never allow that to happen. That is one of the biggest mistakes. Now we have a question from Molly. Can you try to answer this question? How can I use ChatGPT prompts to successfully help me find a job in my skill set?
Oh, that's a great question. I'm actually going to answer that first with something not to do when you are applying for jobs. So Molly, this is kind of in this area, but also not. So I was talking to somebody recently, a CMO, who was hiring, their team, right? And they had a job for a couple of VPs of different roles, right? And they were telling me that they were getting a ton of resumes that looked great, right? But they were all written with AI. So you couldn't really tell, does this person really know this, right? And basically what people were doing were they were taking the job spec and they were prompting ChatGPT with that and then putting in their background, and ChatGPT was creating the perfect resume. So please be careful of that, because your CMOs now, we're onto that, right? So we know you got to be able to talk the talk, right? You got to be able to walk the walk if you can talk the talk. How can you use ChatGPT prompts to successfully help you find a job in your skill set? That's a good question. That's a tough question, actually.
Let me take a spin and then
Yeah.
So use ChatGPT to help ChatGPT, and always give ChatGPT like a header. So what I would do is I would say, hey, ChatGPT, act as a CMO hiring for this company. Okay. And then I would actually load that CMO's information into there. And then I would say, okay, now based on the company, based on this CMO, what do you think would be a resume that will bring me outside the normal, that will stand out? And then I would ask ChatGPT, give me the best prompt to create this. And after ChatGPT creates this, I will take another one, like let's say Claude or some other AI, and I would say, hey, can you analyze, improve, and give me suggestion to improve this post? And then, of course, Molly, the last thing is you really got to read it. Okay. You got to understand that if it looks like AI, nobody's going to care about you, and you're going to look like the other 200 resumes that they see there. So think out of the box, use AI to improve AI, and put the information, who is the person you're going after, what stuff that they did. And a cover letter with some voice attached to it is always really, really good. Okay. Do the AI, but then actually record yourself. Say the name of that CMO. Tell them how excited you are to be working. Try to stand out. It's partially AI, but it's a lot you, Molly. I hope that helps.
And if I could add in something really quickly here, Zev, you're so good at AI. You just gave Molly like everything. What I would do, especially Molly, if you're starting out with something like ChatGPT and kind of new to AI and prompting, I would even take it a step further and ask that exact question that you just asked us. Ask ChatGPT, how can I write a prompt to best get a job in my skill set? And it's going to say, well, you're going to need a resume. You're going to do this. And then you ask it, what else could I tell you that would help you prompt this better? And it's going to ask you all of the questions that Zev just talked about. It's going to say, I need to know who's your hiring manager. I'm going to need to know what company you're looking at. What is your skill set, by the way? What sets you apart? It's going to ask you all of those questions. And then you provide the answers, and you're going to basically use ChatGPT to prompt itself. But of course, there has to be that critical thinking. There has to be that personalization. Otherwise, it's going to come out looking like everyone else's. And there's lots of great tools out there. You can look up like AI, ChatGPT testing or AI copy testing, and you can run your resume through it, and it's going to grade you to say, does this look like it was written by AI? And that's a really good QC to just really quickly check if they were to run an assessment, are they going to see that it's AI, or is it organic enough that they can tell it was written by you?
Love that. Always check the AI. All our writers go through this process. You must put it in through a detector of AI and make sure that your stuff is really humanized. We're getting a lot of comments, Jessica. You're really popular. Let's get a few before I lose them, because they're already kind of getting way backed up. So our friend Diane Levitch, another great speaker and somebody I really appreciate, and I think you know Diane as well. Thanks for this, Jessica. I'm curious if you can explain how you've trained ChatGPT to understand how to write. How do you know what it has grasped your collateral properly? What does that directing look like, Zev? So take it, Jessica, and I'll.
That's an excellent question. So, one of the things that we also use ChatGPT, one of the things that we also train ChatGPT with is who our personas, our tone of voice document, our brand guidelines, everything about kind of our marketing structure, right? Our target audience, how these people consume information. Think of a persona document, right? It's got who they are, how they consume information, when they consume information, what publications they read. Again, like I said, your tone of voice, right? And then other types of collateral. And training it that way. Now, again, it's not going to come out with things that are perfect, right? It's going to give you the draft. The biggest lesson, that the biggest takeaway for this, at least for you and for me, is ChatGPT is not going to do your job, right? It's not going to do your job fully. It is going to help you work smarter. versus harder, especially as we have leaner teams now and we start to, we need to still punch above our weight. There's even more and more competition coming up every day as we speak, right? So your teams need to work harder. They need to get stuff out there. AI can help with that.
Absolutely. Diane, a couple of things to that. Don't try to have an AI do too much, meaning don't try to have an AI get your entire company's voice. Have an AI get your voice, some of your leadership voice, and make sure it's separate. So the way I do it is I speak and I write a lot. Okay. Every time I speak, there's a transcription of it. Every time I write, there is something. So I put all of that into ChatGPT. I put my lives into, not ChatGPT, but you know what I mean. I put my lives into an AI so they know how I speak, how I respond to things. So again, it's not perfect, but the more you put in the AI and the more your voice is actually distinct, okay, then the AI will know how to do its job. So if you are proud of anything you've written, put it into AI and tell them, this is my voice. If you're, you need to tell the AI, I am this, that, and the other. For instance, I'm not apologetic at all. So if an AI will write something very apologetic for me, anybody who knows me, it will be clear that it's not me, it's AI, because I just don't do that. So you just got to give those characteristics and make each AI have one voice. Don't try to have the AI have all the voices, because then mistakes happen. And perfect question, Dan. Thank you so much for sending it over. Let's see what else we got here. What are the challenges marketers have to face while integrating AI system into their existing strategies? Great question. Daniel, you want to start with that and then we'll go to Jessica?
Yeah, I think a problem that, number one, biggest problem I see, and this goes back to our earlier point, is that the teams that I see implementing AI view it in the wrong context. They think it's a magic stick that if we just start using AI, we're going to fix something that has been broken at this company, or it's going to solve a problem that today we haven't been able to solve. If that's your approach, you're going to fail because you are basically replicating something that is already broken, and that's what AI does. Now, if you have a solid strategy that works and you're happy with the way things are and you want to replicate it, that's when I would bring AI in. And that's the single greatest pitfall that I see is slapping on an off-the-shelf tool, thinking that it's going to magically solve problems that already exist, rather than replicating a solution that works. Diane, or I saw Diane's name pop up. Jessica, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think, for me, now and then at Percent, it's also having the right resources and support in your company, right? Especially if you are smaller companies, you're a startup or you're a scale up, we know that resources are stretched so thin, right? And again, going back to what Daniel said, AI is not going to solve everything, right? You've got to, it's not your magic. It's not magic, right? It's not going to fix everything. For me right now, I'm struggling with needing the right resources, right? Because it's not just your marketing team, it's others in the company, especially your engineering, right? Your product, et cetera. I need to make sure, do I have those resources and do I have the infrastructure, right? So right now, I'm looking at like 6 Sense and segment.io, right? Because I need things that are going to help me predict behavior, right? Buying behavior. My company right now, we're targeting CFOs and the CFO organization, right? And I want to look at what they're reading, what keywords, they are typing in, what types of content, where they're at, et cetera. So something like 6 Sense, which we've been looking at for a while, would be great for us, right? However, our HubSpot is a complete mess right now. I want my systems to be married together, right? Because I want a Bible. I just want one single source of truth where all of that is, and I can go and I've got my data visualization tools and all of that, and I've got a dashboard and I can see everything, right? That's a pipe dream. We know that it's not going to happen for like another 3 years, but you need to have the right resources, right? So figure out too, where is your engineering team focused, your technology team focused? Do they have the ability to help sit by your side and make sure that everything is integrated properly? I'm trying to build up a digital marketing and demand gen team right now to first fix and retool HubSpot. Then I can start to look at 6 Sense, right? As I build out the demand gen. So that's a huge challenge, is the resources.
Love it. Another thing that I would really add to that is AI training. Okay. AI training is necessary. okay? And this is something you and I have talked a lot about. People don't realize this, but the best user for AI is actually a lady with 15 years of experience. It's not some student that technology is all they know. You need to understand real world applications in order to work with the AI and understand what it's coming from. So training, training, training. Everybody needs to have a resource of AI training. It needs to start basic and then kind of go to what you need to use AI. But that is what I would harp to everybody, okay? Have AI training. There are certain ways to use AI, and 99% of people are not using it correctly. And we see it all the time. We see it on comments on social media, on emails, and all this nonsense that it's clear that somebody just say, answer that for me, which doesn't give you any points, ladies and gentlemen. So training is huge, huge. Let's go for another question. We have a bunch more. Laura says, this is absolutely on point. Think of AI tools in marketing as another person generating content. Very good. You provide feedback until you reach the desired piece of content.
Exactly.
Love this, Laura. Thank you. I'll say 2 words and then Daniel and Jessica, please interject. I love this. AI works for you. Okay. And Jessica, I don't remember if you were the one that said it in one of, maybe you were, maybe I'm just giving it to you, but now we're all managers. Okay. Every entry level person is a manager because we manage AI agents and we need to look at it that way. AI works for us as an assistant, maybe a brilliant assistant, maybe the best assistant you ever had, but you'll never let your assistant go on meetings for you, right? You know, that's not something you're going to do. So love the question. And yes, treat it as one of your teammates. You're bringing on more teammates. You're bringing teammates for your teammates. So now everybody in your company is a leader that leads artificial intelligence. Daniel, would love to hear your thoughts about this.
Yeah, and I think you hit at a really true point that kind of talks about how everything is going to be altered, like how teams are going to be altered and job roles are going to be altered with AI. It's less that AI is going to replace people. It's more so that people are going to now be promoted to managers, which, I think you pointed out very beautifully there. The other part of that, though, is there is a downside. People who are, entry level, who don't know how to use AI will absolutely be replaced with entry level people that do know how to use AI. So AI itself is not the threat. It's a wonderful tool. It's just like any other tool, nothing magical. It has limitations, but it also has great capacity, and it comes down to learning it. Just a point of encouragement, and then I'll hand it over to you, Jessica. But something that you said, Zeev, was the ideal user for AI is a woman with 15 years of experience. And the reason for that being is that women are better communicators. They provide, I think they speak more than twice the amount of words, daily than men. They're twice as good at giving context, which is what AI needs. You need to speak to it as like a brilliant engineer whose, English is like, their second or third language, right? They speak multiple languages. So you really have to break it down, provide context more than you normally would. And there's another factor of that. What I've witnessed is that typically when men use AI, they just jump right in fearlessly and they, don't provide enough context and they expect results right away. Whereas women are a little bit more tentative, but they give incredible detail and they're really good at it. And so my challenge, regardless of, what gender you are, is to be bold, try it, play with it like a child, but also take time to really communicate with it and speak to it, regardless of what strengths you have. Those are the 2 necessary elements, and I think what make women so great at prompting.
I have to add on to this, and I also want to talk about the refinement from the original question, but I have to add on to this in the fact that, so my boyfriend started to use AI, and Zeev, you met him, so his first.
Send him my best.
His personality. So he'll use ChatGPT for things. And Daniel, you are spot on, right? He just pops like quick question and he expects like perfection from it. He doesn't understand that you need to give it as much information, tell it everything that you want to do. Because think about it. I mean, in its essence, it's a computer, right? Basically, it is, how engineers are coding things. Okay, if it does this, then it, if it does this and then it does this, et cetera, et cetera. You need to give it as much information. You need to tell exactly what's in your head, put it there. And then somebody had put before, the more that one of the questions, the more that you feed it, the better that first response is going to be. And then you can refine it. Right. And, my team at Percent, my team here, we use a number of different tools. Like we may start with ChatGPT, and then we may take that, because ChatGPT is very verbose, right? It gives you a ton of stuff, right? And then we may go to Claude, right? And then we may go to Gemini, right? And it's constant refinement. And somebody else put in the chat, or one of the questions, again, it's a team member, and it's the same thing you would do with somebody that you manage on the content team, right? You review a draft, okay, you give feedback, and then they do it again. It's the exact same thing. AI is part of your team.
Absolutely. Lead your AI for better results. Give the AI doesn't know what you know unless you give him that information. So love that.
When you think about it, it's the development of an employee, right? We do the same thing with our employees. We give them feedback. I like this, but I think it would be better structured this way. AI is that's your teammate.
And if you don't give it the correct feedback, you can never expect it to improve. So Numan is asking us, hey, Jessica, general but important question. What strategies do you think are working in today's marketing world, especially in the age of AI? I'll give a brief answer and we'll go to you. Two things that we find working, Numan, is one, if there are things that are really time consuming and repetitive, AI can really save you a lot of time with that. If there is a process that you really know that works and you know all the ins and outs of, AI can expand it at 10x or 100x. Those are the two strategies that really work. And I hope I'm answering your question correctly, but Jessica, I would love to hear what you think.
Yeah, I have a different take on this. I'm thinking about it from just a general, and Numan, let me know if this is not what you're asking. I'm thinking about it from a general marketing strategy perspective in terms of what strategies today are effective. I always say this, I hate to say this, but I do say this, and I'll explain why I say this, is marketing is stealing people's time. When you are stealing people's time, you've got to give them value, right? You got to give them something. And I'm not saying that to knock on marketing. I mean, I've been in marketing, right? I love marketing. But you're putting information in front of people, right? Asking them to read it, right? And it's got to be giving them value. It's got to make a difference in their lives. I come from a B2B world. So for me, when I market, it's how can I help somebody do their job better? How can I let them know about problems that they have and solutions that can help them, work harder, work faster, work smarter, et cetera. I think the best strategies, today, are really around providing that, again, from a B2B perspective. It's going to be very different from a B2C perspective, although not so much. I mean, it's about providing that value. It's about, in B2B, it's the content, it's the thought leadership. It's tell me how I can do my job better, and do it in a number of different ways, understanding how your consumers consume content, and that there are different types of ways to consume content, right? And having things that can appeal to everybody, right? I don't always want to read a white paper. I may want an infographic. I may want an executive summary. I may want a video interview, right? I may want a quick case study, right? So think about that content that's going to give you value, not shoving a product down a person's throat, but explaining, knowing their problems, telling how they can solve them, and giving it to them in different ways.
Sounds good.
I love that point. And if I could add one thing to that, I think in terms of strategy, and hopefully this is what you're looking for, Numan, start with a strategy I see work really well is to start with your A players. Don't implement AI from the bottom up, but rather the top down. Start with the really high producers, even if it's C-level. Let them play around and take some training so they understand what AI is capable of, what it can't do, and just have a better understanding of how to use it. And that is going to help them train, set good expectations, and then initiate this throughout the company. But you want to start with your top salesperson. Let them figure out how AI can change the way they do sales. Your best copywriter, teach them AI, and then expand that. But don't try to do it all at once. Can get very messy, but start with the highest producers.
I want to add on to this too, because it's not so AI is not just content, remember. AI is like, Daniel, you're talking about it from a sales perspective and a revenue, like a RevOps perspective, right? AI gives you the data, can give you the data and information, and more predictive analytics of what the propensity to buy, right, and where people are at. So that's also another strategy, right, is making sure in your marketing organization that you have the data that is telling you how your consumers are behaving and what information they want, and which ones you should be going after. That's when you then bring the content in. So that's, I think that's the biggest thing, is making sure that you've got that data too.
I love that, Jessica.
We got a few more questions. So Eddie here is asking, I would like to know if you use more than one AI platform and why. Eddie, 1,000,000%, we use more than one platform. We use them to check on each other. Okay, like I use all different AIs with, just to see what they're doing. I'm going to interject really quick because of something you said. Marketing is stealing time. Very, very cool concept. I think people are very happy about you stealing their time today just from the comments that I see. So I think you're providing a lot of value for the stolen time. But let's go back to Eddie's question.
And don't take that as a knock on marketing. Again, I'm in marketing, but that is it. It's true. When we got so much information being thrown at us on a daily basis, you want to provide value.
1,000,000%, and that's what we're trying to do here. That's where we bring amazing people like you. So, Jessica, do you use more than one AI platform, and why?
I do. You already answered it, Zeev, to be honest with you. We use it to check on things, right? We use it to continually fine tune. Each one has limitations, right? Like I said before, ChatGPT is very, very verbose, and you can keep telling it to get shorter and shorter, but it does have those limitations, right? So then we'll feed it through Claude or Gemini, right? And then also, as I mentioned before, we use other types of AI platforms that are not just content, right? Like I said, Segment.io, 6Sets, whatever the Adobe, the big Adobe one is, for website personalization. I can't remember what it's called now. So yeah, we use multiple platforms. The bigger a company that you have, the more resources and budget that you have, you can invest in a lot more tools. The smaller companies, we struggle. We are not implementing 6Sets right now. We'll probably look at it for 2025. Right now, we're just building up the infrastructure and the content, and using ChatGPT, Claude, and Gemini for that.
I can tell you, Eddie, that we have designed this amazing product that it's an AI content development machine. It does the research, the writing, creating the images, creating the videos. It takes your voice, either a leader or the company voice. And every time we show it to a company, they get extremely excited. Okay, I don't think we've ever said a company like, yeah, we don't need this. But a lot of companies, especially the smaller ones, say, wow, we need it, but please, we need it for, budget of 2025. We'll make room for it in the next budget. So you're so correct. There's so much pulling at the budgets right now, all these different tools. And if you want to create a custom tool, which that's where success lies, that's expensive. And you got to plan for it. But how I see mitigating it is training. Again, training. If you know what you're doing, you can figure out ways of doing things with different tools and kind of, doing stuff that is not that obvious. But train your team, train yourself, try to do stuff. And just an example, like ChatGPT uses Wall-E, and then there's Midjourney. Sometimes Midjourney does better things in certain things, which I know, and sometimes DALL-E does. So I'll use them based on what I know. There is an amazing video, Runway ML, okay? Exciting and amazing. But there are some downfalls to that. Gemini has this weird cultural biases that, you ask for something from the World War II and you get things that are more culturally now, but it wasn't like that in World War II. So all kinds of things that you need to be aware of, and that's how you need to use a lot of different tools. This was amazing, Jessica. We spent 50 minutes talking and it felt like 5. So let's, we want to finish this up before the hour for everybody's time. Let's take a couple of minutes and kind of bring some tips and value. If you had either, let's do it both for a more entry level and for more of a CMO type person, how would you advise them what to do today with AI to grow?
For an entry-level person, get involved. Try everything you can out with AI. Start using ChatGPT. I mean, ChatGPT's you can get a free version, right? Try Claude, and even the ones that paid, it's like you think you can get them as low as like $10 a month. Try these things. Don't just use it for content, right? You can use it to write code. We were using ChatGPT and Claude to write code for our website, believe it or not. We were also using ChatGPT. It does the work of a low level, an entry level BI person as well. We were feeding it our KPIs, our budget, our ads, our overall budget, our ad spend, and the ads to predict trends in our KPIs and in ad spend. So there's so much that you can do. Take an AI class. I would like to see in schools, and I think this is probably going to happen, more training around AI to prepare people to enter into the workforce. Don't be afraid of AI. Learn it, embrace it, use it for your personal life, use it for work. That's really, I think, the advice that I can give for an entry-level person, because the people that hire you, they're now going to be looking to know what you can do from an AI perspective, because the people that have been in the industry, especially your CMOs, people that have had 20 plus years, we don't necessarily have the time, right? So we need to hire the experts to run and train AI and use AI. For example, at Percent, it was my team that was doing it, right? I have to operate at a certain level, right? So I can't always get involved in that. So I'm looking for experts. And those experts are often entry-level people that are using AI. They're not necessarily the people that have had 10, 15 years in the industry. So embrace it, use it, try everything out. In terms of a CMO, I have the same answer, to be honest with you. Embrace it, try it out. Do not fear it. Hire the right people. Look for people. I had an amazing director of digital marketing who's now almost VP of marketing at my last company. So I'm super, super proud of that. Who was a genius when it came to this stuff and trained me on it, right? Got me, like, that's how I was speaking at those conferences. I mean, all of the work that he did, I embraced it. I learned it. I looked at different tools, systems. Think about how you can work smarter, faster. I think the stuff that I talked about, forget of course we talked about the content, but think about, what your goals are from a KPI perspective, right? And how do you get there? You need AI to help figure out where is your audience, right? How are they consuming information? AI can help you quickly scale your not your research, your goals, right? From a KPI and OKR perspective in terms of what you need to reach. They can help you scale your organization. So don't be afraid of it, embrace it. Hire the right people.
Love it. Daniel, any last thoughts? Not last thoughts, but any tips for our audience for what they should be doing right now, today, tomorrow, after this live?
Well, Jessica hit the nail on the head, so I'm not going to add on to that at all. I think that was great advice. The only thing that I think, might be helpful is, in terms of like, what do I actually do after this, after this LinkedIn Live? Take a meeting transcript or take an email and give it to ChatGPT and either use the meeting transcript and use prompting to give you a rundown of something that like an Otter AI might do, a pretty easy function, but do it yourself to kind of get an understanding for that framework and how it works. Use it to generate an email response to an email that maybe you're struggling like to find the right words to say. AI is a great brainstorming tool. And I think you'll find that exercise just a really easy place to start, very low risk. But what you'll learn from that, especially if you're just starting, is going to be immense.
Can I add one thing, just in terms of a takeaway for people?
Yeah.
All of the good that we've talked about, just keep in mind, and this is especially important for CMOs and, one or two under, is that, there are risks. So be aware of that when you are using it, right? Like we talked about privacy concerns, right? So there's personalization in there, right? Bias and discrimination. AI is only as good as you train it, right? And who created AI, it may not have been a very diverse, group of people, right? So think about that. Think about the fact of, you can lose human touch, right? It can automate many marketing tasks and improve efficiency, but you lose the human touch in the customer interactions, right? And then, lack of transparency. We don't necessarily know where everything comes from. So that was a concern for me at Percent, right? Because I did not want to sound like the competition. So, make sure that you have that understanding that there are risks, copyright infringement, ethical challenges, dependency on data quality. Always have that in the back of your mind. Again, AI is not the answer. AI helps you work faster and smarter.
I love it. I'll add one of my favorite analogies on AI, and probably people heard me say it a million times, but I look at AI like the invention of gunpowder. Okay, you still need soldiers. They still need to know what they're doing. But right now, those soldiers are able to do their job 100 feet away and not right in front of you. And they can do so much more. But gunpowder can, if you don't know what to do with it, can have you lose fingers and shoot at yourself and all kinds of things. So you got to be, it's a tool. It's a super powerful tool, but it can hurt you just as much as it can help you. So you need to build a certain habitual way of doing it. And I'll give a couple of very, very simple pieces of advice. Talk to an AI like a really smart child, or like Daniel said, like an engineer that is brilliant, but English is his third language. Make sure the AI understands. Every time I talk to an AI, I do it in speaking too, but I actually ask, do you understand? Does that make sense? Do you have any question? Do you need any clarifications? And don't rush AI. Every time I see people rush AI, it's horrific results. So you got to give the AI, first of all, how do you want the AI to operate? Operate as a sales expert, flyer designer, website, whatever it is, give it a hat. And then tell the AI, who is this for? What is the target market? And then tell the AI what is the goal. And then ask the AI, do you understand? And do you have questions? And then the AI will spit out 20 questions. Take your time. Close yourself off. Answer those questions to the best of the ability. If you don't know how, involve your team members. Involve some knowledge bases. Bring stuff in. And then the results are going to be amazing. Jessica, you have been amazing. We're almost an hour on live, and it felt incredible. There's one last question we're gonna take, and then I'm gonna ask you to just say a couple of things to kind of finish off this amazing live. So let's take the last question of the day. From a CMO perspective, the goal is to hire the right people to use the right AI tools. It's a combination of the right talent and the right AI marketing tools. I agree with you. And Jessica, please answer Laura, and then we'd love
100%. Laura, that's spot on. And I think that's what we're saying before. You got to hire the right people and have the right AI marketing tools. It is a marriage, and that's why going back to what people that are just coming into marketing or into the workforce need to make sure that they think about and they embrace AI, learn AI, and start to use it in different aspects of their life. And it's important for CMOs to understand what's out there. And that's why I hired that other person that I was talking about earlier, because he knew all of the AI tools out there and he knew how to use them. So it made my job much easier.
Last thing, Eddie asked, is Grok recommended? Honestly, Eddie, I'm not sure I can recommend Grok. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I don't know enough about it to give a recommendation, but I'll look into it. Jessica, thank you so much. Can you just finish us off with a couple of things about you, how to reach out to you, and if you have a few pieces of advice for the audience that seems to love what you're saying?
Sure. So yes, find me on LinkedIn, Jessica Zall, CMO of CarIQ. If you want to reach out to me, just drop me a LinkedIn message. I'd be happy to connect and share more information. In terms of just a few pieces of advice, like I said, embrace AI. Understand its limitations. Talk to it as if it's a team member. It is a team member. Talk to it as if it's a human. If you are a leader, it is the same way, or a manager, it is the same way that you would manage a person, right? But understand those limitations. And then I just want to, again, echo what Laura said, right? From a CMO perspective, hire the right people that are not afraid of AI, that know what the tools are out there, that know how to use it. And it's a win-win situation.
Love it. Daniel, I'll allow you to kind of finish us off. Tell everybody how to reach out to you and leave a couple of words of wisdom, and then we'll promise everybody we'll be off.
Yeah, well, you know me, Zev. I live on LinkedIn, Daniel Tappan. You can find me pretty easily, and I'm not a shy guy. So if there's anything I can help you with, if you want to meet anyone in my network, just reach out. Readily available. Man, I think that's about it. Maybe one last piece of advice would be something that has really helped me is using voice to text. So instead of having to type in prompts, actually talk to the AI. Has really helped me. Zeb, you taught me that one. Like, you've taught me most things I've learned about AI. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And yeah, looking forward to connecting.
If you're a talkative person, what Daniel just says is brilliant. I never write to the AI. I just talk to it. It saves so much time. Again, if you're a writing person, do what you're good at. But if you like talking, talk to an AI. Daniel, Jessica, thank you. This was one of the most fun lives I've had in a while. Full hour of content and value. So everybody, we stole your time. We gave you value. So
I love
we love it. So everybody have a beautiful day, and bye-bye on this live. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you, Jessica.